W4? No? You want to try W3? Testing, testing. Can you hear in the... Oh, okay. Is that better? Can you hear? Okay.
Are you going to be using this room?
No, not unless we have a contested election.
He said they were interfering with each other.
Oh, okay. It's okay now?
Yeah, he said it's fine.
You see Teddy yet?
Yeah, if he's not here, I can give it, but...
Hey, John. How are you? Good.
Get some water.
He's in Westville, New Jersey. He told me that a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. I'll deal with it. We'll make it work. Okay.
He shot you in.
But you know, I mean, it's probably while I was sick. I would right? finally today, the plumbing's working again. So anything that came in on Thursday,
All right.
all right, here we go.
Here we go. No, I did not. Well, get with us in your work. Come on here.
Morning. It is 9:30, and we're going to get started. I'm Father David Michaud, the Rector of St. Peter's, Salisbury Parish, and I call this annual meeting of Salisbury Parish in order. A couple announcements before we begin. One, I ask that everybody sign the sign-in sheet so we have a record of who is here. Actually, you need a print on the sign-in sheet so we know who is here. So make sure if you haven't that you do that, and then it gets back to the registrar after that. Ernie has it right now, so see Ernie if you haven't yet signed it. You should all have an annual meeting packet. The packets are in a pile over there. There was one sheet, the next to last page, that was missing a page, so that is that fact sheet on the sabbaticals. Make sure you also pick up that page as well. That's sitting next to the annual meeting packets. If you are joining us on the live stream, we have uploaded an annual meeting packet and that fact sheet up to the communications page of the website where you usually get your bulletins to download. You can download that and follow along there, okay? All right, let me begin with a prayer. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, ruler of all things in heaven and earth, hear our prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. Grant us all things necessary for our common life, and bring us all to be of one heart and mind within your holy church. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I look around and I see that we need to have, for a quorum, 21 members of the church. I see that and determine that we have a quorum and may proceed. The item, if you look on the agenda, the next item for business is the approval of minutes. The minutes are included in your packet from the 2021 annual meeting. I will entertain a motion for approval of the 2021 minutes. Linda Hurley, a second. Second from Sarah Hughes. Are there any discussion or modifications or questions about the minutes? Hearing none, all ready to vote? All in favor, signify by saying aye. No? Nay? All right, the minutes are approved. I am appointing as tellers, in case there is any votes or contested elections, John Sharp and John Phillips as the tellers for today. I now go to the head of ask the head of the nominations committee, Hope Morgan, to give the report of nominations for the elections of Vestry.
All righty. Well, thanks to the help of a committee and other people that elected to join in, we appreciate everyone's efforts. For the vestry in a 3-year term, we have Gil Allen. Can you not hear me? I don't know. Are they on? Kristen Mallory and Nancy Burdette.
Thank you. Are there any nominations from the floor? I will entertain a motion to close the nominations. All right, from Marilyn, is there a second? Second from Linda Hurley. All in favor of closing the nominations, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, since there are 3 nominees and 3 positions, I will then ask the registrar to cast 1 ballot in favor of these 3, and they therefore are elected as the new members of the vestry. Congratulations. I ask the nominations chair to come up for delegates to the 2023 convention.
The delegates this year are Ernie Cornbrooks, Jimmy Hill, and Sarah Hughes.
Ernie Cornbrooks, Jimmy Hill, and Sarah Hughes. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations. Anyone? Yes, Bill. Close nominations. Is there a second? Second from Linda Hurley. All in favor of closing nominations signify by saying aye. Opposed? Nay. All right, the ayes have it. Since there are 3 delegate positions and 3 nominees, I will ask the registrar to cast 1 ballot for those nominees, and they are elected as your 2023 delegates to Diocesan Convention, which, by the way, will be taking place at St. Peter's on March 5th, 2023. So that certainly will save us a bit of money. Congratulations. All right, alternates to convention.
The nominations for alternate to the convention is Linda Abbott and Brevard Cornbrooks.
Linda Abbott and Brevard Cornbrooks. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none. Entertain a motion to close nominations. Yes, Marilyn. Second, John Sharp. All those in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. All right, the nominations are closed. There are actually 3 positions open for that. We have 2, but that's fine. And so we will I'll ask the registrar to cast 1 ballot to elect Linda Abbott and Brevard Cornbrooks as alternate delegates to the 2023 convention. Congratulations. And thank you very much for the work of the nominating committee. You are disbanded. Hooray! All right, financial report. We were going to have the treasurer's report. We were going to have the treasurer do that, but he is in Niagara Falls with his wife, who is accepting a, I guess she's graduating from, she's been working on a spiritual director's program, and they're doing the graduation up in Niagara Falls, so he is joining her, and that's really great because our postulant now has that to add to her quiver of wonderful achievements. So he won't be with us. And then I heard from our financial chair that he is unfortunately in New Jersey. And so you got me to present the treasurer's report. In the treasurer's report, you'll see is, and this is for 2021, the summary is probably the most interesting thing. That is the first page, which happens the page after the all the nominees. And you can see that the offerings, one of the things I'll point out is the offerings have come in well ahead of what we had budgeted. And so we had to take a lot less out of our withdrawal of endowment that we had budgeted. Look at that. We had budgeted for $44,000. We took $10,000. Of course, one of the things that certainly helped out was the fact that we got some PPP money. So we ended up the year in income with $488,000, which was certainly over what we had budgeted to take in. And then on the expenses, the expense side, we had budgeted $472,000. We actually spent $466,000. So it ended up that we, with net ordinary income, we ended the year with a little bit of a surplus of $21,647. So a fairly good financial position for the year. The challenge, of course, is going to be next year without the PPP money. You know, we have certainly our pledge income, our pledges were higher than we've had in previous years, so that certainly can make it up. We will have to take some more money out of endowment unless we see growth, and the more people are coming in, the more people that are giving us money, the less money we'll have to take out of our endowment. As of yet, we haven't taken a dime out of it. Our cash flow is pretty good right now. but we'll see how that plays out. But I do want to report that we ended up with a good financial year. There are, if you go through the next few pages, it's very much in detail what we're spending. If you look at the Endowment Report, which is a few pages in, you can see that at the end of December, our total financial investments was $628,119. Market has not been very, very good the first quarter, but we've got a few more quarters, so we'll see how it goes. But actually, we ended up the year in a good financial place. Our cash was good, and the bank balances. You just got a lot of detail that I certainly can answer any questions for. I do want to, before we get the last page, before the parochial report, is about the Vision Fund. That's our capital campaign money and where that is being spent. And you can see the activity in 2021, the column all the way to the right. We still are getting a good amount of income in over the previous year, $66,000. The money we're spending in 2021 is on the tech upgrade project for our cameras and audio system, and to upgrade the computer system and all too. All the other projects have been completed. So I will try to answer any questions you might have on the treasurer's report. Yes, Bill. Yeah, I think you see all of the compensation went down a bit. That's, I think, because of the timing of the pay periods. I didn't get a dime less, I didn't get a dime more in 2021. We had no raises at all in 2021 because of what's going on with the pandemic, but it was more of a timing issue. So there, that was what you see there. Yes, you'll see that from last year. That's typically how we do that. Yeah, one thing I will say, and we'll get to that in the budget too, is that the compensation does reflect that in 2022 we had a 3% pay raise for the staff, and we got our music director up to full time, which was a wonderful accomplishment. Any other questions? Okay. I will, yes, sir.
What's the funds transfer out of the Vision Fund, $77,000? Probably just an accounting function, but what is?
Let's see. Was that when we paid back the endowment? I think, or is that under, no, that's the withdrawal.
Wasn't that the funds that we agreed to pay back?
I think what that was the, because you notice up in 8901B, withdrawal from endowment, when we started our campaign, we wanted to get that organ started earlier before we raised a lot of money, so we borrowed money from our endowment. So I believe the $77,000 is to bring that money, is to pay that money back to ourselves. So that came out of the vision, that came from, let's see, that would have come to the endowment, back to the endowment. Yes, so we come from the Vision Fund back to the endowment to pay us back. So we now have paid ourselves back for those loans. Yeah, I think with some interest too. Any other questions? Yes, Bill?
What are the other projects waiting to be done?
Other projects for the capital campaign. Once we finish the tech project and we're in the midst of getting the final computers in, the next is the stained glass window project, where we will get all the old plexiglass out, reseal and caulk all of the stained glass windows, and put new plexiglass or whatever the coating, the covering of the day is to come up. It will really make the place look a lot brighter too. So.
Yeah, we put it in when I was senior board member.
Okay. Yeah. After that, any additional money that comes in from the capital campaign will go into the property equipment fund in the endowment. So we are going to continue to build that capital reserve as well for other projects that we want to use. So I'm hoping we can get the stained glass project underway by the summertime. Other questions, comments about the church? I'm sorry? The roofs are all done, yes. All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Is there one? Dick Van Gelder, is there a second? Laurie? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Great. All right, it is passed, it is accepted. All right, thank you. I want you to we put in also the parochial report that we submitted to the national church in the diocese. It has gotten a lot more detailed, and they asked a lot of questions, especially about the pandemic and how we worked in that. I'll encourage you to take a look at that at your leisure. I do want to go after the parochial report to look at the next item, which is the operating budget that was approved by the Vestry in 2022. So that's right after the parochial report. You'll see that we are looking at offerings of $378,000 with other income at 31.5 for $409,800 with other investments, including a withdrawal from endowment of $64,000. We're at $487,208. We do not believe we will get anywhere near that withdrawal amount from the endowment. We think that the growth is going to make up for a lot of that, but we had to put that in to balance the budget. In fact, the last money we will be putting in will be money from our endowment. So we will see how things go. We are getting a number of contributions in outside of our pledges, a lot of online giving. So we are going to keep watching that and see how we do and how much we're going to actually end up having to take out of the endowment. The expenses show that in clergy in compensation, a 3%, I said again, increase in pay, plus we've taken our music director up to full time. That's what that shows. Our diocesan assessment is pretty close to what it was last year. There's just a few $100 increase from last year. So we're paying that in full. Once again, we've been paying our diocesan assessment in full over the last few years. And then we have our different ministries, outreach and mission, that are the tools we have for our volunteers and our staff to do our many ministries. And then our overhead costs are looking at $104,000. We're seeing a bit more increase in some computers and tech stuff because we're certainly doing a lot more with our live stream and other such things. And so our expenses are looking at $488,017. So that is the budget that was passed by the Vestry that we are proceeding with. Any questions or comments? Okay. All right. Well, then I think that takes care of the financial report, and I will be happy to have that treasurer back next year to do it himself. Safe travels for both of them. The next item on the agenda is reports of committees. They are filed by title, and I encourage you to take a look at all of the different reports that the committees have submitted to you. There is a lot of amazing work going on in this church, and I encourage you to be part of that, to help support it in any way that you can. I don't know if there's any particular questions on any of the committee reports. Yes, Lynn.
I would like to say I have to say this is the first report, but I know that we all
Mm-hmm. Yes. Lynn, for those watching, Lynn is complimenting the Altar Guild for all the amazing things they've done over this year. So very, 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 very well said. Thank you. Yes, Bill. I don't have a number for, this is on how much is coming, how much income is coming from people live streaming or other non-members of the parish. That might be, we might see that, it depends. Some of the folks that are giving, that are watching more on the live stream, and maybe aren't even located, are located far away and have maybe never stepped foot. There is a portion of people doing that. We would either see that if they're giving regularly, then Bill Day would put them as almost a pledger, and if not, it would be under the other plate. As you see, in 2021 on the financial on the treasury report, plate offerings were $37.54, which is above the $2,000 that we caught. But I think I would say there's more than that. But how much has come in, I don't know. We can find that out for you. Yeah. And I will have something to say about that in my rector's report too. So hold on tight and talk about that. All right. Next, after reports by title, is a report on the choir school of the Eastern Shore by our music director, Daniel Chericks. Daniel, please come up.
So just this week, while on the other side of our earth, a government drone screams throughout Shanghai city streets, "Resist the urge of your soul, shut your windows and do not sing." Here on Delmarva, we heard, "Bless, O Lord, us thy servants who minister in thy temple. Grant that what we sing with our lips we may believe in our hearts, and what we believe in our hearts we may show forth in our lives." Prayed by a group of 7 young people in your newly formed choir school of the Eastern Shore. So the Shanghai statement, the drones are going, they're shut down, COVID again, and people were opening their windows and singing in order to have relation between themselves, and community. And so now the drone says, stop that, don't do that, don't sing. And by the way, notice the second lesson this morning when you're in the church. Listen to all the commands to sing and about what's going on beyond our realm with singing. Last summer, with the blessing of the rector, the vestry, and God, we formed a choir school board made up of community, college, and parish leaders, including Phil Tillman, Bill Folger, Kate Allen Dyer, Dick Van Gelder, yours truly, with assistance from Taylor Harvey, Jane Morgan, Sharon Clark, and Sarah Hughes. The board was charged with the task of thoughtfully launching a choir school here at St. Peter's based on chorister programs such as the Choir School of Delaware, the National Cathedral, and others here in America that are themselves based on cathedral choir school programs in England. We held multiple informational meetings for local music educators. I was interviewed on PAC 14. We even had WBOC attend one of these informational meetings. And we had some enthusiastic vestrymen, one of us is over there in that purple shirt, who talked to a coworker who has a very talented daughter named Grace Ashby, and she got involved. We started with one student. By the way, Grace will leave Salisbury this autumn to go to Shenandoah Conservatory. Anyway, Grace said yes, and we started with one singer. Now, as COVID restrictions lessened, 4 more joined. You may know Robin Cockey, his 3 children joined, with a friend of theirs named Gabrielle, who happens to be the granddaughter of Bert and Betsy Wirt and Betsy Wolf. Then another of our own who's been over here, who's in the floor right there, has joined. And then just last Tuesday, another child joined, Jane Johnson. We have 7. Our goal was 7. So I love what these participants, these young people are saying. So here's what their parents have told me. They have these conversations in the car, the children with themselves, you know. And so one says, I'm loving this Anglican music, and our last choir, we just did pop music. Another one says, it's really neat to sit up here and see all this, and this means liturgy. That's what they were talking about. After a choir holiday during Easter week, another member said, now these are children, said, I can't wait to get back to choir. I'm melting inside. Children, engaged, learning. You know, you can't sit in that space, and they're leading, by the way, when they're up there, they're leading. You can't sit there and lead and be in that environment and not be transformed and changed and formed in some way. All right, so the board, we had a plan. You know, we were going to meet Wednesdays and Thursdays. We were going to provide dinner. We were going to do this. We were going to do that. Well, life happens, and our plans, we had to become very flexible. Sessions that were supposed to be 2 days a week turned into 4 days a week to ensure that participation was possible for each one of these children. Mercifully, we are now back to just Tuesdays and Thursdays, but that may change. We're going to be flexible to make this work. Now, what are we doing? What is it? What's happening? We're offering our unique and rich Anglican tradition and using it as a teaching tool. 500 years of the most glorious choral music ever to be written for a liturgy that actively rests upon 4,000 years of liturgical tradition, because you remember, our liturgy is based on the Jewish temple worship. Now, this is not just about learning to sing. This is Christian formation up close and personal. Remember those statements from the children. The choir recently sang at Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Day services. That's called the Paschal Triduum, right? Yeah. So these kids were involved in that drama that the liturgy provides from Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, into Holy Saturday and Sunday, up close and personal as leaders. Where else in our region are children being exposed to this kind of rich spirituality and to helping to lead it? This is the only, as I've said, nowhere else in our region. You have to travel to Norfolk, Wilmington, D.C., or further to experience this. So what are we offering? We're offering a high-quality music education curriculum called Voice for Life, produced by the Royal School of Church Music in America. Opportunities to attend summer courses led by some of the world's top choral conductors, solo and small ensemble experience, our vast and refined Anglican repertoire spanning 500 years, the ability to connect with others and make lasting friendships, peer-to-peer mentoring, intergenerational learning environments. And in a few weeks, these kids will have the opportunity, albeit virtually, to work with David Halls, who's the director of music at Salisbury Cathedral, UK, and they will have the opportunity to sing the world premiere of his new Ascension Day anthem, Eternal Monarch. So the gift that you are giving these young people and our region is amazing. It will, without a doubt, in my humble opinion, sustain them at some point in their life when they need it most. You can't sit in that space and not be changed. And we want to share this with more people, more children, and their families. There's a website that was designed by Dick Van Gelder and Luba Paskova, www.choirschooles.org. It bears mentioning we applied for and received a grant from the diocese for the choir school. We also applied for and received a grant from Messiah, from SWAC. So your music ministry is creating revenue, FYI. Finally, some gratitude to the St. Cecilia Guild, without who, those members of you who are in the St. Cecilia Guild, thank you. We couldn't do any of this without you. Thank you, Father David. Our music librarians are here, our bell choir, Taylor Harvey, our guild members, our board members, our steering committee members, and to our participants and their families, Grace Ashby, Elijah Cockey, Isabel Cockey, Guinevere Cockey, Gabrielle McNelia, Riley Duncan, and Jane Johnson and their families. Finally, to God be glory in this. Now to each of you, pray for us and get out there and talk this program up so more people can participate. Thank you.
I wanted you all to know that because this is historic stuff. This is really exciting, and this is coming from St. Peter's, and I think we should be proud of the great work, and let's keep this going. This is an amazing asset to have, and these children are just fabulous. So thank you, Tude, for your amazing work with that program. I'd like to call on our senior warden, Hope Morgan.
Well, I'm going to keep this short. First of all, I would like to thank our current vestry members. Without them, this year would not have been possible. We've had a unique group of people. Every month we have fun monthly meetings, share a lot of ideas, agree to disagree, but I think the end product shows. Especially this was kind of nice seeing all of this put together of where we've come during the past year. So it's been so rewarding for me to have done what we've done. I encourage everyone in the room, when asked, to join and be a part of the vestry. Poor Lori, she's left, but she'll be right back. But it's really so worthwhile. And for those that have been on the vestry in the past, thank you all for what you've done. Everyone walks away with the same feeling that it is really rewarding. So thank you all for a great year, and looking forward to seeing what happens next year.
Thank you, Hope. You're now at appreciations. I would like to offer some appreciations to those vestry members who are retiring from the vestry this year. First of all, I want to thank Susan Cabral, who is a retiring vestry member, for her service on the vestry. She has been the Education Committee liaison and served on that committee very well. Prior to that, she served on the Cemetery Committee, and she filled out an unexpired term. I'm appreciative of Susan, her wisdom, her thoughts, and her commitment to this church. Thank you very much, Susan. Another person going off the vestry after a 3-year term is Brian Newton. Brian, I know, I think he's in New York right now. But he has been not only the liaison, but the chair and the founder of the Plan Giving Committee, and has done wonderful work in explaining how we can leave a legacy and be and have St. Peter's have St. Peter's taken care of in our Plan Giving. I appreciate his financial and organizational expertise and his wisdom, and I thank him for his term on the vestry. The third person going off the vestry is Jeff Cottingham, and I want to thank him for his work. There he is over there. We actually have someone here for his work in so many ways, including our cook for today. In fact, let's give a round of applause to Mark Duncan, Jeff Cottingham, and to Marion as well for all their work. And thank him for his work on the Fellowship and Evangelism Committee and the Sabbatical Committee. And we won't be seeing the last of Jeff Cottingham. So. Oh, and also his work as our technology and camera operator. Just all of the yeoman's work for that. So thank you so much. I also, though, want to recognize someone who is also retiring from a leadership position, and that is Judy Wyatt. Judy Wyatt has been the chair of the Outreach Committee for the past 9 years. In fact, when I came to St. Peter's, she and I kind of started up that Outreach Committee. As a way of helping us to look at all the work we do to those in need from St. Peter's. And you are the one that established that Y Middle Partnership, which has meant so much to so many people over the years. And your leadership in organizing all of our different ministries, from the homeless shelter to the UTO mite boxes, and making sure that we were not asking too much of the congregation, but spacing things out so that we all could feel like we were part of it. Anyhow, your leadership has been tremendous, and you have left things in such a way that we just keep building on our capacities. Thank you very much for your service, sir. And finally, I want to thank Hope Morgan, who is our senior warden that's stepping down. Hope has been steady and sure and wise in her leadership. She has been a good friend and a person of great advice to me. And you have served on two of the roughest years we have had during the pandemic. And during that whole time, you have been a rock. You have been positive, and in spite of all that, even with all that, you have taken on some amazing things. You took on, like for instance, our bazaar. We had our most successful bazaar this last fall, thanks to your leadership and bringing all these wonderful people together. And also, the Stewardship Campaign. We have never had such a successful stewardship campaign. You have done such great work in helping people to understand the value of this church and how we all need to be supporting it. So, and you have just navigated us through so much, and I really appreciate your great work. And I hope you have a good little Sabbath rest. Thank you. All right, now we get to the rector's report. I was opening up the church, and I was over, and we don't usually have these doorways open, so I went ahead and kind of went down here, and I noticed that there was this sign still sticking on that back door. Remember these? Stop, do not enter if you have COVID. And I'm thinking, wow, we've come a ways now. We've come a ways. I am pleased to report to the parish that St. Peter's is continuing to flourish in its ministries. It has expanded its active membership. It is financially stable. It has weathered well the last 2 years of disruption and challenge as the nation and the world, and especially churches of all denominations, have dealt with the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe the pandemic has changed forever the way we do church. We cannot go back to the way things were because the world is changing and the old world no longer exists. We have discovered some new ways of doing things that are bringing more people to participate in church and technologies that are helping us to be more efficient, even more frugal. Old ways of measuring success are being thrown out the window. While our in-person attendance is often lower than it used to be on a Sunday service, we are finding twice as many people participating in our live stream services, if not more. You may be part of those people that are participating. It used to be that when attendance was down, it affected our income. But in the past year, that has not been the case. In every other year, Sunday offerings always go down in the summer, and the gap isn't made up until the end of the year, but not this past year. In 2021, we continued to be above budget in giving even when the attendance was down through the summer and fall, and it turns out giving was 11% above what we expected for the year. I have been at St. Peter's now for 9 years, and I have never seen such strong giving by this parish. Thank you, St. Peter's, for your generosity and your confidence. Now, certainly, online giving has played a role. But the idea that if there are less people in the church, that the church is dying and can't support herself no longer applies. Because people may not be in church, but they are participating in the life of the church. In the live stream, we're involved in a number of amazing, thriving ministries. What it means to be church is changing, and we are part of that change. We are meeting people's needs. There are people who are now regulars at worship who have never stepped foot in the church, but are in some way being fed more than we know, and so many are offering their support because they like what we are doing here at St. Peter's and they want it to continue. It used to be that to do committee work, everyone needed to drive down to the church, sometimes driving at night, find parking, set up chairs, meet and organize to get things done. Now, thanks to the pandemic, we are getting things done on Zoom. And even though it's possible, people don't want to go back to these physical meetings. And that's okay, because it saves time for volunteers. It respects their time, their safety. gives them more time with their families, is better for the environment because we're not driving around downtown. Doesn't mean we can't ever meet in person, but we're finding that technology like Zoom is helping rather than challenging our ministries. We made the weighty decision last summer to stop doing our daily evening prayer on Zoom and to go back to worshiping in the church and live streaming the daily prayer services. You know, we had 3 to 6 people on those Zooms calls who were very loyal in praying together evening prayer, but that was ending. And pre-pandemic, when we just had daily prayer in the church, we were lucky to have 1 or 2 in the congregation. But when we began broadcasting on Holy Cross Day, September 14th, we discovered that many more people, 30 to 50 per day, who couldn't get to church were tuning into the live stream or waiting until later in the evening and watching the daily prayer video and praying with us, including many of you here today. We are reaching so many more people with this technology. Why would we not want to continue to broadcast our daily prayer? Why would we go back to our pre-pandemic practices? The hymn of the day that Daniel Cherrick started shortly into the pandemic has some of the highest views of anything we broadcast. We are feeding people. We are making a difference in their lives, and they are grateful. How we do church is changing, but I truly believe that is not a bad thing, because we are finding ourselves at St. Peter's in a time of evangelism, of bringing worship and music and teaching and serving to many more people, and they are appreciative. And God is smiling at our efforts. It is truly a mystery how all this is evolving. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but the Holy Spirit is alive in our work. Sometimes we make mistakes, but we are learning and we are becoming stronger. And so the goal as we continue working our way out of the pandemic is not to return to the old normal, but to reach out to the new normal, to see how we can build on where we have been, to continue to be good at what we do, to be relevant to people today in service to God. Now, that doesn't mean that we deviate from our mission. We're not out to please everyone. We are here to please and to worship God and to support and challenge one another in our spiritual journeys as fellow Christians, as one parish in the Episcopal Church. What I have learned about this parish through the years is that we like to strive for excellence, to do our best to honor God. There are so many devoted and dedicated people who together are working to build up the capacity of this church to do things well and to increase our ministry, and I believe we are succeeding. So read the committee reports in our annual meeting packet. Together they tell the story of a thriving church in worship, in music, in outreach to those in need, in care of its members, in education, and care of our children and youth, stewardship of our many resources. And I thank the leaders and the volunteers who are doing so many wonderful things in the name of God for this parish. I would like all those who are leaders or members of any committee or ministry of the church to please stand and let us express our appreciation of the hard work you do. Could you please stand if you're a member of any committee or so in this church? Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I would also like to thank the Vestry and officers who have led this parish through some life-changing times in our life. They are working hard for you on your behalf, and I'd like all those who are present to stand and let us express our appreciation for your hard work. Thank you, Vestry members. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize the staff who are so skilled and committed to support the mission and ministry of this parish. You have a hardworking, skilled staff who have to be creative and work even harder during these pandemic times, and we have been well served by their professionalism and skill. Let us all thank Music Director Daniel Cherrick, Greg Harborough, who is our Assistant Rector, Deacon Laura Harborough, and Parish Secretary Kathy Parsons. So where do we go from here? Well, let me put forth 4 ideas. First, We need to continue exploring and investing in how we are using technology as tools for evangelism, how we continue to be a leader in the diocese and our community for being the Church of Jesus Christ in these new ways of being church in the 21st century. Second, the Outreach Committee, under the leadership of Deacon Laura, has seen success in undertaking ministries to the homeless and those in need of food. We are finding there is a need to provide a feeding ministry in downtown Salisbury, and we are the only place downtown that is doing that. What if we could expand on the success of the Blessing Box, which we see back here, and if we could find the funds to use that vacant basement office space in the Parish Annex building as a base for further ministry to those in need? I'm going to be challenging the Outreach Committee to investigate this. St. Peter's in its past has had many more ministries to help those in need, like a Friday soup kitchen. We've done this before, and I believe we now have the capability under Deacon Laura and the ability to do as our Lord commands and provide food to the hungry, clothes to the naked, and be a friend to those in need. So let's make this happen. Third, our young people have been challenged by the pandemic, and we need to be ministering to them. It has been hard for families to participate in church like they did in pre-pandemic times. And so we are challenged as the church to see how to best minister to them. And it may be tossing out some of the old models and figuring out what is relevant and meaningful for them in participating in Christian community. This is not just our challenge, but one facing the entire church. They are our future. We need to focus on them. Fourth, our music ministry is doing amazing things, attracting talented individuals, providing musical experiences found nowhere else in Salisbury, and is attracting new people and families to our congregation. It needs our continued support as our music director, Daniel Cherix, continues to build up our worship and music experience to what befits a church of the stature of St. Peter's. Our grand church building was built by its founders for great Anglican music, and we are now experiencing that again. I cannot forget that magnificence of Easter Sunday. Can you? That was tremendous. We need to see that continue and thrive. And one final challenge for the parish over the next few months is what I will mention is that, which I think is a wonderful opportunity, is my upcoming sabbatical, which you'll hear about in just a couple minutes. This will happen from mid-August to mid-November, and it's something I'm getting more excited about as it comes nearer and nearer. I'm looking forward to learning and exploring, rest and reflection, and coming back more excited and renewed and eager to let you all know what I've experienced. But it's also a time of growth for the parish, when you'll be called to help pitch in to keep things going while I'm away. A good plan's been put into place that will be shared with you momentarily, and I have no doubt that everything will be kept going while I'm away. And I ask you support Pastor Greg as he steps up to help during that time, because this is a great church and with so many wonderful and talented people. And I know you will rally together to keep things thriving and successful. This week marks 9 years since I first came to you as priest. And for those of you who have been with me this long, you know where we have come. We have seen an increase in membership and care for one another and those in need. We have seen progress in the maintenance and improvement of our buildings and grounds and greater financial stability, including the retirement of all debt. And in the parish itself, I find there's much love and respect for one another and an intention to want to engage in more fellowship and deepen the bonds of affection between each other. And I encourage us, as we have more opportunities to get together, for us to follow through on that intention. We certainly have more work to do. We've made mistakes. We're not perfect, but God is a forgiving God, and we do well when we forgive and love one another. I hope if I have offended or disappointed you in any way, you will forgive me and work with me to make things better at St. Peter's. God is not finished with us yet. I believe there are good things, and I'm excited and honored to be your priest and rector as we forge ahead together. I pledge you my continued commitment to lead St. Peter's as best as I can, and I ask for your continued help and prayers. Thank you for your confidence and support as your rector, and thank you for this opportunity for me to present this report to you. Thank you. This is the next item on the agenda is questions for Rector and Vestry. Are there any questions for Rector and Vestry? All right, we have no old business. New business, we have one item, which is the sabbatical update. Jeff, can you come forward and give the sabbatical update? You are between us and adjournment.
So most of what I'm going to be referencing is this page, right here. Just 1 minute. I get to make fun of it. We formed a sabbatical committee in the fall of last year, and that was Father David and Hank Phillips, Jeannie Whitney, who's over there, and myself. And we used a book called Clergy Renewal, the Alban Guide to Sabbatical Planning. We read that, went through it, and kind of used that as our blueprint for figuring out how we were going to make this sabbatical happen. Father David guaranteed, was contracted a sabbatical when you all called him here, and we wanted to make sure that that happened. So he's going mid-August to August 17th to November the 13th. He's got it right on there. So that's when he's going to be gone. We first helped him sort of figure out where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do, how he wanted to renew. We talked about how this was going to be a growth for the congregation also, because I don't think you all realize exactly how much this man does. One of his chores from the committee was to keep a legal pad next to him and to write down every single thing that he did. And it took 2 meetings and 2 consecutive nights just to go through the list of all the things that he does for us, and probably 75% of it you will not even know. So then we had to organize all of those things into categories, because if he's gone, we have to figure out how all those things are going to get done. And that took us an immense amount of time. So we're going to be asking a lot of people to step up and help out. There's going to be a lot of things coming from the committees that we're going to be asked to be done. The Vestry is going to have to do even more than they've done before. The wardens are going to have some extra responsibilities. Pastor Greg is going to be full-time during those 3 months that he's gone. And Deacon Laura is hopefully, we're almost certain, going to be here with us to help run the office and also to take care of some liturgical things. Where we're trying to negotiate her exit from her other responsibilities at St. Paul's. So, St. Philip's. St. Philip's. So now what we have to do is appeal for some money. The diocese has given us some money, and Father David has to contribute a portion, and the congregation has to contribute a portion to this. If you take a look at the backside where it says St. Peter's Sabbatical Fund, has a breakdown of what it's going to cost for the various things that he plans to do. There's a Holy Land trip, a trip to the British Isles, Solitude, and then the operating expenses, which the committee went through what it would cost us to have people act in his place while he was gone. So I encourage you to read through this. I know there is a fundraising dinner party, not sure what we want to call that, something that he and I are going to do along with Daniel. And then there'll be opportunities for you to write checks, go online, however it is you feel that you need to do that. So the information about how to do donations is down at the bottom where it talks about contributing to the sabbatical fund. Is there any questions? Any questions?
What about the last page over here is on.
Yeah, that was in there. Oh, the whole plan is in there.
You still have,
Yeah.
We just refer them.
So yes, on the last page of the booklet handout is the summary of our operations plan that we wanted to put together for you. It's just sort of a concise document that goes over a lot of what Father David was doing before and how that's going to be divided up. This is a summary document. There's actually a much larger document that if anybody, after reading this, has questions or needs to see, we can see that gets to you, but it's a pretty long document. Yeah. So I didn't think you wanted to go through 9 pages, so we got it down to 1 for you. I think that was the 2-night meeting, yeah. Everyone's busy reading.
Any questions?
We're good.
Jeff, thanks for that, and thank you very much to the committee for their great work. Parishes do this all the time. We will do this, and we will be successful at it. I just wanted to show you that plans are underway. No worries. We will work this, and it will be a benefit to all of us. And I hope that you will consider helping out on the sabbatical fund, so all the funds are there for us to make this happen. Thank you very much, Jeff. This is the last item on the agenda. I think we are finished with our business. I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes?
As Parish librarian, this week, all these tapes will disappear. If you guys want to look at them or whatever, please take more. And also, the library is in need of books for like teenagers and young youth and children. If anyone has any, just please let me know.
Thank you. Any other announcements or business? Thank you. Yes, Judy.
I like to keep everybody up to date on what's going on at Bylaws. And one of the things that's happening this coming week is that it is Teacher Appreciation Week. And on Thursday, we're going to take a big sheet cake over with all the stuff to do. What we're going to do, because it is the 5th of May, we're going to play on the Cinco de Mayo thing. Decorate and do things like that. Lynn has made a bunch of things that will decorate our cake, and we'll be delivering that to the church on Thursday, and sorry, to the school on Thursday. And we'll take some pictures to make sure that you all get to take a look at that. They're real exciting.
Great. For those watching on the live stream, Judy's saying that there will be a teacher appreciation goodies going to Y Middle on Thursday, May the 5th. And remember, the day before is Star Wars Day, May the 4th. And so, of course, if any good Episcopalian, when they hear May the 4th be with you, says, and also with you. Yes, very good. Before we go, yes, John.